It being 10 o'clock, I will call to order the Thursday, August 2nd, 2026 meeting of the Criminal Justice Committee. I assume all members have had a chance to read the minutes of the previous meeting. If so, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Support.
This moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Finance reports.
You will find your project income statement for the Criminal Justice Communication Allocation Fund in your packet. You will see you've had some expenses in the cameras and equipment and some expenses in the Bulletproof Vest Reserve with a cash balance of just over 85,000. If there's any questions, I will attempt to answer them.
Questions to the finance report? Hearing none, before we go to the individual reports, I just have something slight to say. We have received requests from individuals who watch the meeting or tune into it later to look it over. And they have a concern that people are saying when they report out, well, my report is in the packet. Any questions? That doesn't give those at home, those watching later, an opportunity to know exactly what is in the packet. I'm not asking that you be very detailed, but somewhat of a little report on your particular department. I know I'm throwing it at you pretty late, but if you could do so, doesn't have to be thorough detail, but at least in generalization. So the first one I put on the board is the sheriff.
I appreciate that. I had to get my glasses out just in case I have to refer to my report. You do have your report in front of me. However, let me paraphrase from some of that. So probably the big highlight of all of the information in there is the celebration, recognition of pretty much all of our employees at the Sheriff's Office over the next couple of months. So starting off, and I'll hit the first paragraph. Starting off is the National Public Safety Telecommunicator Month or week, excuse me, and that goes from April 12th through April 18th. And we almost always have a proclamation or a resolution from the board, and we like to recognize that. And I know Commissioner Unks is aware of that. Something that we don't get a chance to tell our 911 operators how much we appreciate them as much as we should and could. So this is a great opportunity to do that, and we will. I know that our staff has things planned for that week, and it's pretty important. So that's the first one. The second one, which is April 19th through the 25th, is National Volunteer Appreciation Week. And so the Sheriff's Office has many volunteers that we draw on from time to time, and as a matter of fact, we probably would be lost without them. Just to name a few, the Sheriff Reserve Unit, they come in very handy during a lot of different situations, whether it's the working up at the fair during Fair Week, and I know we've tapped them a few times when we've had some power outages and some crucial lights in Lenawee County have gone off, traffic signals, and they will volunteer their time to sit there and make sure that it's a safe intersection and that people see that. So a multitude of things, and along with our volunteer, our mounted unit, and our victim service unit, all of which give their time, and we would have a big void if we didn't have them. So they do a great job, and we'll be recognizing them. The next is May 3rd through the 9th, which is National Correctional Officer Safety Week. So this is our time where we recognize our men and women who work in the jail and do a great job of making sure that it's a clean, quiet, and safe environment. So again, we'll be doing some recognition of them, and I know the county commissioners will recognize them as well. Couple of things we're going to do during that week is we're going to offer some tours to employees of the county. If they have never been in our jail and would like a tour, we're gonna offer that. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the captain has carved out some time for county commissioners to have their own tour and be able to go in and see the jail. So again, that's a great opportunity to kind of answer some questions and highlight our hardworking men and women in the jail. So lastly, but not least, is May 10th through the 16th, which is National Police Week, and Friday, May 15th being National Police Memorial Day. And so again, that's a time that we'll recognize our deputies and all the hard work that the men and women do at the sheriff's office. And it's a time to show our appreciation to them, but also to honor those who have given their all to police work and public safety. And so on May 15th at the Oakwood Cemetery, we'll have our memorial service. I think in my report it says to be determined. We unfortunately, one of our detectives who was coordinating that and coordinated it last 2 years decided that he was going to retire early, and so we're kind of scrambling a little bit, but it'll be a good memorial service, and we've done it many times, and we appreciate all of your attendance there. So thank you very much. And that's really the only other thing that is not on my report that I just wanted to kind of touch on, is that May is also Distracted Driving Awareness Month. So I thought I'd pull a few stats to see, and one of them was how many citations the sheriff's office has written since beginning of the year, so year to date. And we have written 72 citations to individuals for distracted driving, which, again, I sent an email out to my staff and said, thank you for the hard work you're doing, because that is one of those things that has an impact. We want to make sure that people are paying attention when they're driving, and holding the phone in your hand and talking on the phone is not paying attention to your driving. And unfortunately, many crashes can occur because of this. So I appreciate the many citations that they have written to try to curb that. And I'm sure there's many other verbal warnings that were given to try to do that as well. So I'd be very happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Mr. Van Dorn.
Thank you. On the status of the jail, I know we didn't have any early releases, which I'm glad to see, but would you say admissions are trending upward or downward? Could you give us a little idea of what's going on at the jail?
Absolutely. So the admissions, so admissions in my mind are arrests. So I can tell you that the jail captain has been looking at that and pulling that data. And, excuse me, arrests over the last few years have been trending up. And that's true of last year. Last year we made more arrests last year than we did the year before, and more the year before that. So arrests, how many people are brought to jail, continues to trend up, and we saw that last year as well. The trend for how many are in jail tends to be trending down. So as arrests trend up and the amount of people in jail trend down, that is one of the things that you can look at many different things, but one of the things that I try to point out to my captain is that we don't have any control over how many people are in jail, as far as that's something that's a judicial process. So it's up to judges and up to the system as to how many people are in jail, stay in jail, and get released from jail. So as arrests trend up and the amount of people, daily population trends down, it is the same at many other of our jails, because we've reached out and they're seeing the same thing.
So if I can just follow up on that. So our high count for the month was 97 and our capacity is
287,
287.
correct?
Are we still working on possibility of finding more admissions for there? Not necessarily here in our county, but somehow or another with the full staff. We have a full staff of deputies there no matter what the count is, right?
Yes, we have to have a full staff, no matter what the count is. It's not like we're closing part of our jail down at any time. So we still have to do the same thing. We still have to book people in. We still have to get them in front of the cameras for the judges. We still have to take them to appointments. We still have to do all of that thing. It doesn't matter how many we have in jail. We still have to feed them. So we have been, matter of fact, as early as last week, my captain was reaching out to a municipality that was looking at housing, and we haven't heard anything back, but we have done that. We have reached out on a listserv to different agencies just to let them know that if, because from time to time, there'll be some overcrowding at a jail, or there'll be a need for someone to assist them by taking an overflow. Probably the thing that becomes more challenging than anything with that is the transportation aspect of it. Because as much as we can bring someone in, it usually has to be someone who's already been sentenced and isn't expected to be sentenced on more, because transporting them from our jail to, 3 counties away can be staff intensive, and that's one of the problems that you run into. But to date, we have not had anyone well, we've had a few surrounding counties that have took us up on the offer, but we do the same with them. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Further questions, comments? The question, and maybe the prosecutor can turn it also, have these specialty courts had an impact on the number of people that might be going to jail or sentenced?
I gotta believe that, yes, they do. It's basically alternatives to incarceration, which isn't a bad thing. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the fact that our numbers are going down is something that is a bad thing when we find someone that should not be in jail because of the fact that they can get help elsewhere, and that there's a better location for them to be, whether it's in patient treatment or maybe a drug addiction, et cetera. So some of the courts, when we do alternative to incarceration, then yeah, that does have an impact on the stay in the jail. But I don't think we would want to change any of that.
You concur?
I agree.
Okay, very good. Any further questions, comments? We do have a request from the Sheriff's Department. It's to recommend approval for the ongoing contract with Madison Schools for a school resource officer to personnel ways and means. We have a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion to go forward with that. Support.
So moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, same sign. Motion carries. It is approved. Thank you, Sheriff. Now we'll move to the prosecuting attorney.
So for February, we had a request for 226 warrants. Some of those were refused for insufficient evidence. We ended up authorizing 156 of those cases. There are also a number of those that were sent back for further investigation. Some other reasons that things were denied were mutual combats, the victims, the aggressor, things of that nature. We had 15 requests for juvenile petitions. All 15 of those were authorized. We're operating at about 74% of victims that are currently exercising our services for victims' rights. Our Economic Crimes Division, they have collected in merchant fees in February and restitution over $7,000 for local merchants, diversion fees for other victims, close to $4,000, and $1,648 in jail reimbursement fees. Any questions?
Questions of the prosecutor? Thank you. Hearing none, we'll move to the public defender. Michael.
Thank you. Good morning. And as I'm still new to the role, my name is Michael Bagger Margosian, acting chief at the Public Defender's Office. Reflected in our report breaks down the caseload of felony and misdemeanor. In this report, I asked my staff to review the breakdown between high severity, low severity felonies as defined by Michigan law. I wanted to make sure those numbers were correct. We can see a trend of, and this links up with what the sheriff was saying, a decrease in cases from last month, both in felony and misdemeanor. As you can see in the report as well, the miscellaneous types of cases, FOC show causes, extraditions, BPOs and violations fit that trend as well. Regarding other information regarding the office itself, we have taken on a new intern, Mr. Stradley. He is a recent law school grad. He's fitting in well. We're getting him good experience. And he's under the supervision, obviously, by court rules. So that's our report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you much. Any questions of the public defender's office? Comments? Thank you. We move now to the emergency management.
So I'll just highlight a couple of things from my report. I've applied for a grant through Michigan Public Safety, which will, if approved, will allow us to do mapping of a couple of critical infrastructure sites. In particular would be the college, the hospital, and then county buildings. So I should hear on that by May. And if we are approved, it's a quick turnaround. But the contractor involved in that has assured me they'd be able to meet that timeline. So hopefully we can get approved for that. I would like to make mention of the tornado siren test that was done last month. My office has received a number of calls regarding the siren test and whether or not residents can hear their sirens or not. I think it's important that people know that neither my office nor the sheriff's office nor any other county agency or department is responsible for any of the tornado sirens in the county. Those are all the responsibility of each local jurisdiction. So if you have a problem with a siren in your jurisdiction, you need to contact that jurisdiction. They are the ones responsible for those sirens. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to report on.
Very good. Questions, Commissioner Van Doren?
Yeah, Craig, do we know how many sirens are activated and if they all activated during the testing procedure?
I am not aware of that number. Each jurisdiction has a different number. I think Addison has 6 for the areas they cover. I believe Ridgeway has 2. I only know that because I live in Ridgeway. There's some jurisdictions that don't have any. City of Adrian does not have any sirens, and neither does Madison Township. But each jurisdiction is different. They could have just one that's on their fire department. They could have additional out in the surrounding townships. Other than that they all did participate. As far as how many worked, I don't know.
Interesting.
Mr. Krasny?
Yeah, thank you. I know it's been a big issue with all these horrific storms this spring. Do we have any idea how many sirens we do have in the county?
I am not aware. 'Cause like I said, each jurisdiction is responsible for their own. So they purchase them and then they are responsible for the maintenance and upkeep.
And
They're responsible for setting them off as well.
there's no state or federal laws on how often they're supposed to be tested?
There's not that I'm aware of, and there's no federal or state law requiring a jurisdiction to have a tornado siren.
or tested. My esteemed chairman informed me of a lot of this and so that's pretty interesting. It seems like as a county, we should get a grasp on this. Not sure it's our responsibility, but as being the county government, maybe we can facilitate some sort of, at least count of how many are out there and what's going on with it. We do a lot of meetings. Seems like that would be a productive meeting to have.
Mr. Van Dorn.
which keeps lending to new questions. So, our code red system that we have, where you put out alerts. That comes from the Weather Bureau to you.
That goes from the Weather Service directly to that system, so it's sent out instantly. So there's an interface between the National Weather Service and our rave alerts. So if the Weather Service issues a warning, that automatically goes to our rave alert system, and the alert goes out to everybody that's signed up within the polygon of the Weather Services warning area.
Okay, so it goes directly to them and then it's up to, at one time, I know years ago, the sheriff's department could activate every siren in the county. That's not capable anymore.
I believe they still can, but they do not do that. It's up to the individual department.
I'd like to hear from you.
Mr. Rux, do you have a response to that?
Yes, so a few things on that. So for Addison, we have 6 sirens. All 6 of them did go off in this last test. And we also test them on a daily basis at 6 o'clock at night, not the full tornado siren, but they just go up and down so that we know that they're working. I don't know if the other jurisdictions do that, but in answer to Commissioner Van Dorn's question, the sheriff's department, when we went to the 800 system, the sirens did not. The sirens are still on the VHF system. So central dispatch still sets them off for those that use sirens for fire calls. Ridgeway, I think, would be an example of that. Sand Lake, I think, is an example of that. For the tornado sirens, though, they do not. That's been a jurisdictional duty for quite a long time. I know way back when you were chief, it was different.
Yeah.
Yep. So what we need to do, and like I say, it's very cost prohibitive, but the sirens really need to get moved to an 800 system. Like you're looking at several thousand of dollars to do that. Because the VHF system, as far as I know, you know, it's gonna work until it doesn't, but it's gonna come the day it's not gonna work.
Mr. Van Dorn.
I know a lot of times, we've had this question when we've been working with Congressman Wahlberg's office and also with, Senator Bolino and Representative Arno, and sometimes their groups have grants that are available through emergency services that maybe some of that could cover, but I think the first thing that we need to take a look at, I agree with Commissioner Krasny here, is that hopefully the fire chief should put together a little sketch of where all the sirens are and how many there are and see where the void areas are, and then maybe in the future we can apply for some funding for some of that.
If there's funding available. I
If-
know FEMA, when it comes to FEMA grants, I have not seen anything in my time in my position where any of their grants allow for the tornado sirens, at least the ones that I have access to. So they are very, when they come out with their grants every year, they have areas where they're concentrating on, and I've not seen one yet where they allow for tornado sirens. But I'm not saying there's not other grants out there, fire grants and things like that, but nothing that I have access to.
So action items, we should have somebody bring this up at fire chief's meeting. That'd be, because we get a count from that meeting, and I think they meet once a month, right?
Every other month.
Every other month, but and then, yeah.
Did a grid drawing where they are, yeah.
Very good. Any further discussion? Comments? Thank you very much. We will now move to the medical examiner's office. Doctor?
Morning, everyone. You have the statistics and report for February in front of you. And the important thing that I think we need to just look at is that to date, January and February, we've had a total cases, number of cases for Lenawee of 52 cases and 16% autopsies. One of the things that kind of brought my attention to it was it just seemed to me that we've had, I felt when I authorized an autopsy to be performed, that we've had a large number of autopsies that we performed. So I went back and did some statistics, and for Lenawee County, averaging the number of ME cases that we've had for the last 6 years, the average number is 321 with plus minus deviation of 22 for that. And the number of autopsies that we performed was 111 with plus minus 18. The value of that is that 90% of other cases that we should have, we can use for comparison each year, should fall within that range that we did that. And as we get more years data added to that, we'll be able to predict better what percentage and how many autopsies and how many deaths we investigate. And when that came out was that we do approximately 34% of the deaths that are reported to us that we perform an autopsy on. In the last month, it just seems like we've had a little bit more accidental causes of deaths. Some of those, mostly occurring in nursing homes and hospice, according to my statistics. And as a result of that, I'm working on a PowerPoint presentation on head injuries and accidental deaths that we can distribute to hospices and nursing homes as to when they should really investigate, because the difference becomes, everybody thinks that when you're in hospice or a nursing home, it's going to be a natural death. But there's a big difference between a natural death and an accidental death. And then those that are reported as accidental in a fall, where they actually pushed, and that moves it into the range of a homicide from the medical examiners. So it's not just simple falls and that, and they need to be aware of it. And do not resuscitate does not mean do nothing for the patient. The other thing that I'm working on is that we're a big proponent for education. So Sarah and some of the other staff have been involved with the career fairs at Clinton schools. We've had an Adrian College student that did 8 hours in our office. She had to get information for her master's degree. And then we have and she wants to become a pathology assistant. And we have a nurse who's going to be doing some time. She has to have some time for her master's degree also. The other project that I'm working on is later this month, I am giving a talk to the emergency medicine residents at Henry Ford Jackson on how to complete a death certificate, what's important in completing a death certificate, and the manner of death. That's going to be a PowerPoint presentation, which we will keep in the office so that we can send them to the primary care physicians who refuse to fill out death certificates, so that they understand that a refusal to fill out a death certificate is a misdemeanor, punishable by fine, time in jail. And one of the other things is can be reported to LARA, so that when they go to renew their license, they have to explain why they refuse to complete their duties.
Very good. Questions of medical examiner's office? Hearing none, thank you much, doctor. I don't, do we have someone here from the courts? I don't believe I see someone. And, last we have Marie from your campus.
Construction continues at the campus. We're looking at, an April 17th for completion. I think we're be close, might be a little later, but, they've had a couple of little obstacles, but, things are going good. Detention, old detention is shaping up and looking really, really good. I just wanted to let you know that, the Lenawee Youth Center Board, which is our campus board, has been, putting a lot of sunshine on residents that have been doing well in the campus and handing out, awarding them and giving them, incentives to do better. They come each week and report to or each month and report to the board. And that seems to be motivating a lot of young kids and helping out a lot. You can see that it's really, really helping with them. We currently are still working, obviously, with Michigan Rehab Services and Goodwill, and we currently have 11 residents working in the community 2 days a week. So water's back on, so that's a good thing. We're that cleared, and that's been very helpful. We currently have 5 interns working at the campus right now. We've got our AEDs put in, and we recently did Grady Elam, our program manager, was at Adrian College this week working with a lot of the interns, and we'll have probably more interns next year. We've had a great relationship with the colleges here in town with the interns and been able to hire a few of the kids. So we appreciate that.
Questions from Marie Spear campus? Comments? Thank you much, Rod. Do we have any other updates or business to be brought to this community committee? Any other updates or business to be brought to this committee? Last call. Any other updates or business? Very good. Hearing none. Is there any public comment? Anyone who wishes to make public comment? Comments from the board? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported, is there any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.